Good morning. I just wanted to make a video, and it's been a while, so I guess I should update. I went through a dark night of the soul this year, and I processed it on video. But I know I'm coming out of it because I have physical manifestations for reasons I can relax now. I have 5 months where I don't have to worry about money. And it's been so hard that I'm not done getting back up. I was knocked down by this dark night of the soul energetically, just like I gave everything to get through this time, and I have nothing left. I'm forced to accept help wherever I can and rest. I'm actually sick right now. I actually had to cancel some things today because I'm so tired, so that's appropriate for this video. But also, I'm getting signs that things are about to shift big time. Like, not only am I gonna go from like having nothing to like maybe having way too much interest and support that I have to filter through. So there's this lesson that's been coming to me this week about you don't have to be perfect to be on a spiritual path. To prove to yourself you're on a spiritual path, you don't have to be perfect. You can, that's what this was all about. Like, I kept thinking all year, I gotta fix my bad habits to demonstrate I have mastery over my mind, and abundance will come in. That's what I thought was gonna happen, right? Isn't that what we think? We like get disciplined and then things will go well. But the whole time they're like, well, not quite. That's not quite it. That's not quite how it works. Now I understand it. Like, if you're never gonna be done. You're never gonna be done with your karma. When you call in abundance, abundance is gonna change for you, first of all. What you think abundance is gonna change. So you're never gonna be done getting abundance. You gotta learn how to flow. And the way you learn how to flow is that you gather tools for dealing with triggers. You just gather tools, and the tools come to you as you do all of the light body activation exercises, like meditation and breath work and being in nature and healthy eating, basically. And then kindness, being kind and observing yourself so that you don't justify creating conflict because of your
time 25 minutes 6 seconds, total distance 1.0 miles, average pace 25 minutes 5 seconds per mile, split pace 25 minutes 5 seconds per mile.
Okay, so do the light body activation exercises, and you'll start to see your life improve naturally because you're releasing the limiting beliefs that were holding you back, and abundance will start to trickle in. And as long as you feel things improve, you're going to be more and more patient for that bigger picture abundance to come in, because you're like, well, things are getting better. So that's, relief is huge. Relief is everything, you know, just a little bit better. It's enough. So, okay, so I'm going to channel about not having to be perfect to have arrived at your spiritual path. And then if you realize you're not waiting for anything, because that's what happened. I was like, okay, well, I keep waiting for some evidence that I know what I'm doing. And I don't really have any on the outside. It doesn't look like I'm doing much better. On the inside, I feel like things are magical from my perspective. But people looking at me, not really knowing my story, would go, oh, she's really struggling still. But I see the direction things are moving, and energetically things are getting better. So confidence is coming in like that. So, okay. Rosalind, Jocelyn. What would you say about not having to be perfect? Yeah. Dear Kelly, has been a while as you're rusty. Don't have to be perfect. Right. Okay. So your desire to be perfect is a very third dimensional desire. Anytime you're looking at yourself from the perspective of other human beings to see if you approve of yourself, that's a third dimensional mentality. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for that, really, actually, because your ego is guiding a lot. Your ego is directing a lot of your physical decisions. Your physical life decisions are guided by your ego. Your ego is like, I want to be pretty, and that dress is pretty, so I find a way to buy that dress, and then I wear it, and I feel pretty. And that's fun, and that's part of why you're here, is to explore the fun of that. But it's not our goal. We don't care what it looks like in the third dimension. That's all you. Whether you're disappointed or you're happy with what's going on in the third dimension, your physical reality, as you look around at your personalities in your life and your house and your things and your body and your things, and you're like, that's all ego. And that's fine. There's no judgment. We don't judge anything. But what you're trying to learn on this path is the priority system of the fifth dimension. And this is where there's peace and harmony and love and wisdom. So when you look at your reality and you look at yourself and you go, well, I don't really have control over getting a job today to make money, to feel secure, because I'm sick and I'm busy and I'm stressed and all these kids are a lot of work. Okay, you don't even have the ability to go out and just jump into a job right now. Everything would fall apart if you tried to do that, because you've got to take care of the foundation first. Okay, so we look at things completely differently from our perspective. When we look at your life, we look at your emotions. How are you doing? Do you wake up in a good mood, a bad mood? Do you wake up with a routine? Do you wake up expecting good things to happen? Do you have goals, that you have a list and you're organized and you're keeping track of everything and you're following through, and you find accountability where you're not following through, and you do the things that you can? You meditate so you can remember the things from the past, the younger years of your life where things were going well. Can you meditate so that you can tap into that part of your mind that's been dormant? Meditation lets you do that. Meditation is like a detox of the mind, where you slow down enough and you stop being busy so you can let the debris rise to the surface, kind of like a pond that gets murky and then it turns over. This happened in Kansas. The pond turns over at some point, maybe twice a year, and all of a sudden the water's clear. And then as things stir up the muck at the bottom, the pond becomes mucky and somehow it turns over. I don't know what's going on. But when you meditate, that's kind of what it's like. But it's kind of different in that as you're going about your busy life, you're pushing down everything. Like if you're drinking coffee every day, those toxins build up on top of each other, and it's layers on layers of toxins on top of each other. Well, that's what's going on in your mind. And when you meditate, the toxic thoughts or whatever, they're not actually, the individual thoughts might not be toxic, but when they're inappropriately positioned in your belief system, they could become toxic. So you've got to slow down everything so you can let that top layer loosen up a little bit. It's not getting beaten down by new thoughts and new activities and new directions. You're allowing things to slow down so that you can allow things to rise up and be dealt with. It's like the difference between fight and flight and rest nervous systems. If you're constantly in fight or flight, then you're not allowing the processes of the resting nervous system to operate, such as your healing immune system, your digestive system, and your reproductive system. I think I got those right this time. I didn't get it right before. So you need to relax, you need to rest, you need to be still, you need to stop, you need to slow down, and you need to be alone. You need to be alone sometimes because the influence of others is confusing, and it makes your truth confusing if you keep getting influenced by other people's truths. So you got to stop watching the TV and the internet and the stuff because it's all pulling you away from your truth. Okay, you can listen to other things, and then if you focus on your own discernment of what they're saying, then you get to know your truth better. But most of the time, it's really distracting from your core truth, which you can only find in meditation, and you can only find in mindfulness. And the longer you can sit with that mindfulness, Kelly, because we know you barely can do 20 minutes before you can't even. You're barely at 20 minutes. The more you can do that, the deeper and the richer you get to know yourself and your emotional body. And you have more to work with. You have more to work with in manifesting the thoughts that get you through the day when you can sit, because you're going to naturally allow these thought belief patterns that are stuck in place because you're not letting them come up and be changed. They're stuck. If you're not meditating, you're just kind of putting mental toxic layer on top of another in your mind if you're not meditating in any way. It doesn't have to be sitting cross-legged. You can walk. Kelly's walking and considering it meditation because she wasn't using her phone, which is her favorite way of doing it. But you could meditate on a bike ride. You know, as long as you're not stimulating yourself with music, it's a meditation. So do a little bit of meditation and grow it. First, to create a new habit, you got to be repetitive with it, right? You got to do it again and again. So don't start with something daunting. Start with something small. Maybe you just say, I want to meditate at this time of day, and you figure that out. And then you go, but I don't really like it. So I'm going to instead, to make that time of day carved out for something, I'm actually going to have a cup of coffee during my meditation time for like a couple weeks. And that tells my body that there's something happening at this time every day. You create like a mammalian remembering of physical motion and time, and you just get used to this rhythm. They have coffee at a certain time, and then you just say, okay, eventually after a couple weeks you go, okay, well, I'm going to close my eyes for 1 minute, then I'm going to drink my coffee. Okay, this is slow change. This is how you change slowly, because you've got to create the habit before you get all busy with your mind getting perfect at everything. Kelly. Okay, so your spiritual path is going to constantly evolve, and as long as you're on the path, then you are successful. Okay, and your life, your physical 3D life may not look successful because you've got karma still coming up to purge, and that's really not you're gonna look like a mess when you're purging your karma. But we all know that people who do regular fasting go through that purge and that detox on a regular basis, and they don't want to show anybody what they look like while they're fasting, right? You don't want to hang out with people while you're fasting. It's something you do by yourself. So, the spiritual initiation, the initiation to the spiritual path is something that's best done alone or with a guru. But even with a guru, you really don't want anyone witnessing or judging your process. You just got to go deep. And you got to find your guides. Okay. Now we're moving beyond gurus now. Everybody needs to have their own guidance that they listen to in the privacy of their own temple and at their own personal private altar, because it's only gonna, the richest journey is by yourself. Okay, nobody else outside of you is gonna improve upon your personal journey. We always give you a little bit past where you're at, Kelly, and then weeks or months later you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. So what they said just now, I don't understand exactly. But I have a feeling that I will as I reflect on what they just said. So that's multidimensional teaching. And that's what these shows, videos are an example of multidimensional teachings, because they're just looking at patterns of energy, and those energetic patterns have not come to fruition with their purpose. So that's how they know what I'm learning, and they know what's coming because they know what I'm working on. So anyways, okay, thank you. And you are there, but if I don't do this regularly enough, I still have to like be patient and listen. Oh, and another thing was, now that I have figured out my spiritual path and I have my tools, I have like 6 tools that I use on a regular basis to raise my frequency, and I feel like things are starting to get better. I'm more confident financially. Thank you, God. I appreciate that. Shoot, what was I saying? Oh yeah. My problems are not going to be scary. Now things are going to be like fine tuning. Like before I had to hustle in a very physical way. Like I had to get rid of bad habits, which I'm still working on, but I'm working on it, and that's it. You can't snap your fingers on the physical. You work on it. You work through stuff. You just keep working through stuff and taking breaks and celebrating, working through stuff. And the working through stuff somehow is more subtle now. Now I'm working through choosing the right words in my conversations, because I know that the wrong word will set off a completely different timeline. And in order for me to have the right words to use in my conversations, I have to meditate, because my mind is feeling still chaotic. Even though things are on the outside looking a little bit more tolerable and manageable, my mind still feels chaotic. So now I really am going to meditate and eat better to hone and make more impeccable my decisions of thoughts, because I know that every single thought matters and every single word matters. And when you realize that and you want to get good at that, you want your truth to align with your words and your thoughts, it's like impeccability. And they told me a long time ago I was going to have to figure that out. So that's why I was like, oh, I got a lot of work to do. But it's just a journey. It's not all of a sudden it's over, which is kind of linearly how we think as 3D humans. One day we'll arrive, and all of a sudden I'll be the one who can be on TV and teach. No. Everybody who's on TV teaching are also on their own journeys, becoming more and more fine-tuned. Okay? And their goals change. Maybe being on TV isn't important to them anymore, you know? So I was thinking of Tony Robbins for some reason. So, okay, long enough. Namaste.